Hey loves, it's Jasmine. Thank you for coming back to my channel from Jasmine with Love. I so appreciate you being here. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to this channel for more encouragement and just uplifting messages from the Word of God. Anyway, I wanted to come back on here talking about, on Tuesday we talked about Joseph and his interaction with his brothers after however many years and going from slave to second in charge of Egypt. And now I want to kind of look at that story again, but at it from a different point of view. I want to look at it from the point of view of Jacob, Joseph's father, and the Jacob, but also Israel. And I want to talk about kind of split personalities, because where we are now is we see that Joseph has instructed his brothers. I know you have another younger brother who is his only full-blood brother, Benjamin, who is both the second child of Jacob and Rachel, who is also Joseph's mom. So he wanted to see his youngest brother, but he was left in wherever they were. He was left back in Canaan with Jacob, his father. And so his brothers have to go back, and they go back with food to Jacob, and they say, if we want to go back, if we want to get more food, we've been instructed by the man in charge, because they still don't know that they're talking to Joseph. We've been instructed by the man in charge that we have to bring back our youngest brother so that we can prove that we're not spies. Joseph knew exactly who they were. He was just, making things harder for him. I'm sure out of, because they made his life so hard by selling him into slavery. And just to make it, because he wanted to see his brother again for whatever reason. Maybe because I'm going to mess with you. You mess with me. I don't have the power to mess with you. That's what I'm going to do. So he does that, and Jacob responds, no. His response is, no, I'm not doing that. My first son, he's dead. Now you want to take my second son, and of my wife, who he loved. He loved Rachel. He worked 14 years for Rachel, which is interesting that he worked 14 years for Rachel, and now Joseph has worked for 14 years on this famine situation. I don't know if there's any correlation between that, but whatever. So he worked 14 years to marry Rachel, and only had two sons by her, Joseph and Benjamin. Joseph is dead, and Benjamin is the only one who has left. Rachel is dead, and not only that, is one of his other sons, Simeon, has been held back in Egypt because they were gonna kill him if they didn't come back for their brother. So he's like, one of my sons is dead, the other one might as well be dead because he's back in Egypt, and now you want to take my other son of the wife that I loved and take him to Egypt too? No, I'm not doing that. We're just gonna have to starve. So he says no, and it says that the famine got worse, and he told his sons to go back to Egypt and get some more food. He's like, well, we can't go back to Egypt without Benjamin. And that his next response is different. He says, well, if God watch over my sons. If I am bereaved of my sons, I'm bereaved of my sons. So when he initially responds, he responds out of fear. He responds out of withholding. He responds without trust that God will take care of his son, Benjamin. The second time he responds willingly giving trust away to God and saying, God, if I'm going to lose a son, I'm going to lose a son. So be it. You take care of him. And I just think about, two ways that we can respond. We can respond to things when God asks us to make certain sacrifices, saying, no, I don't want to do that. No, I want to hold on to what I have. No, I don't want to give that part of myself away. Or we can respond and say, Lord, you're asking me to give this part of myself away. I'm going to do it. Whatever the circumstances may be, that's what it's going to be, because you are in control. Jacob had no idea that he was going to let his beloved son go and actually gain his most beloved son back. Because if you remember, you know, Joseph was Jacob's favorite. He gave him the coat of many colors, and that is what sparked the jealousy in his other brothers, which caused the him to be sold in the first place. And he had no idea that the man who was in charge was Joseph. He thought Joseph was dead, but God had a plan. He said, all I need you to do is surrender what you love to me, and I can give you more of what you love. And I just think it's a beautiful thing for us to keep in mind. You know, we can either respond as Jacob or we can respond as Israel. Jacob is someone who doesn't trust, who withholds, who is fearful. Israel is someone who trusts and who surrenders and who knows that God is taking care of them. And how you respond matters. How you respond to what God has told you to do matters. Are you willing to give up the thing that He's asked you in faith that you will, whether in this life or the next, get the reward that you deserve for surrendering to God? Or are you going to keep and hold on tight to the little that you do have and not even be able to receive more because you're holding on so tightly? It matters how we respond. I hope that we all respond like Israel did, because, you know, it's even in the Bible, in this passage, it switches the names, which is what got my attention. It says, so they went to their father Jacob. That was the first response. And then the second response, it says he went to his father Israel. So even the Bible delineates between the who was responding at the moment. Was it Jacob or was it Israel? Are you going to respond in fear? Are you going to respond in trust? Respond in trust. I pray that for you. Pray that for me. And I hope this encourages someone and helps you to evaluate how you're responding to God. If there's anything that He has asked you to give to Him, He has asked you to move forward with, how are you responding? Are you afraid? Are you fearful? Are you trusting Him and willing to let that thing go? Hope this encourages you. I love you. I'll talk to you soon.